Okay, so I have a piece of 1.5" round stock in here, and we're going to begin to make the barrel extension. So I've already faced both ends and trimmed it to 1" 950 thousandths. What we have here is a internal thread here and an external thread here and a hole down the middle. Now this hole is going to be 860 thousandths, so it's 10 thousandths bigger than that the actual threaded extension piece that we made, the little Acme thread here, for this to slide in like so. So what we're going to do right now is just punch a 3/4 inch hole straight through this stock, and then we're going to bore this out. So what we're working on is the internal threads first. Reason why I'm doing the internal threads first is the internal threads are harder to do, but so if you screw up, at least you didn't do all this work over this end to thread it if you scrap the part. So we're going to do the internal threads first, but what we're going to do is just punch through with a 3/4 inch drill bit to remove the bulk of this material in the middle, and we're going to step drill that. Okay, I'm actually going to speed this machine up in a second. This is relatively soft stock, if I remember right. I mean, it's labeled 12L14, so I'm almost positive that's what it is. This is written in my handwriting, so I'm assuming I was right. Speed this machine up. Yeah, it's drilling like leaded stock. If you notice, it's coming off in little chips. It's not coming off as big stringy pieces. And it's relatively easy to get in there. So this is going to be really easy to machine. Which is perfectly fine for the application we're doing, because it's actually not going to take any wear. It's just going to take a little bit of thrust. Okay, so that's drilled out to 3/4 inch right now. And now we have to open that up to 1" 50 thousandths. That's going to be our minor diameter for our thread. So let's get our boring bar in here, and I gotta change the tip in this. Give me 1 second. Okay, so we want to open this up to a diameter of 1" 50 thousandths, and we want it for a depth of 3/4 inch. So what we're going to do is just make sure everything clears there. We're going to touch right to the edge. I have a dial indicator mounted here. You might be able to see it here. So we're just going to bring that up there until it touches. We're going to set 0, and we're just going to use that as our depth. So I'm going to bring it over here. Alright, we're touching there. I'm going to set 0. And we'll take 50 thousandths to start. 6, 750. Okay. So now that hole is perfectly round, and we can get a reading on what we're getting for diameter. So it should be somewhere around 800 thousandths, and we're 796. That's 950. Okay, we should be getting pretty close, probably within 10 or so. Yep, in 1 inch 40 thousandths on that. Now we can switch to our mic. Inch. It's the same 41, so that means we got 9 more to go. Me take 5. Alright, this is the same 4,000, so let's just take that last 4. Alrighty, so this should be it. Actually, it's pretty much right on the money. So right there, I'm starting to feel it rub. So maybe shade over, but we're perfectly fine. And now we can set up to thread this for our 16 threads per inch. Okay, so now we're going to make a thread relief all the way in the back. I'm going to use my threading tool to do it. And I'll be able to feel when this edge comes in contact with that edge all the way in the back, that ledge. I'm going to drag in the length of the tool and then just move it back about 50 thousandths. And I'm going to set my dial indicator here to 0 on that position. That's when I know I'll be able to disengage. So if we come in here, right about there is where I'm touching the ledge. We're going to back off just a hair so I'm not dragging. And right there is where we're going to make our thread relief. So I'm going to come in. I go right in the middle of that thread relief, which is right there. And I'm going to set my dial 0. Okay, so I'm not going to use the compound to thread this. I'm only going to use the cross slide, go straight in. And our double depth of thread is 81 thousandths. We're going to be measuring it using the nut on the end of the barrel. So what we're going to do is we're going to come in here, turn this guy on until we touch. It's right there. Set 0. Just going to take 10 thousandths. And let me grab my thread gauge. I'm going to make sure that we're 16 threads per inch. And we are. Okay, so now we're going to open up this side to 860 thousandths. That is going to be clearance for this piece that we made here to fit inside. It'll give you 5 thousandths per side of clearance. So it's not super critical, so you can use a calipers to get the dimension, because it's just a little bit of a clearance hole. So what we're going to do right now is we're just going to have at it. Again, helps if you put the bull gear back in there. I'm using a 4-jaw chuck so I could get concentricity in the bore once I flip this around. So you can do it with the 3-jaw if you're careful. Call that 0. Okay, 862, so there you go. I just needed enough room to have it free float in there, that way when it comes back in it doesn't get hung up on anything. And now we'll just break this edge here. That edge. That edge. Okay, so now we need to take this diameter down to 1 1/8 and for a length of 400 thousandths. So what we're going to do is going to use my dial indicator mounted to the carriage again, and I'm going to come in right there. I'm going to move my indicator a little bit. And I'm going to 0 it. There's my 0. And we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 400 thousandths. And again with the here, we are just going to make a little idiot mark. So we're going to bring that down. Okay, we should be pretty darn close. I'm going to check over some thread wires here. Be 148, somewhere around there, 146, and we're at 149. So that should be pretty darn good. That should fit. That should fit. Okay, so we have our bushing extension, and we have our original end cap. Fits on there. Come on, fingers work. Fits on there like so. Like that, nice and flush. Then this plugs into the back of the tailstock. Here is our screw, which fits through here. Like so. Now, theory is, if we did everything right, this nut, when screwed all the way down, when I screw this nut all the way down to the end, where it comes in contact with that, when I put this in here, this step, which will end up being the end of the original tailstock barrel, this step should come flush with the top here. And there we go. And we are just underneath that, just like I wanted to be. So there you go. There is our extension piece of our tailstock. So now what we need to do before we cut into our tailstock, because we are going to need it to come on. We're going to need it to extend our tailstock. So what we need to do is thread a piece of rod that is the length of this original piece plus the length of our extension, and we need to Acme thread that. Now you can buy a piece of Acme threaded rod, which I was going to do, but I didn't end up doing. I thought I had some here, but the one I have is actually 5/8, not 1/2 inch. So we'll just use a 1/2 inch rod and we'll thread this. So why don't we get a piece in the lathe and get our tailstock all back together again so we can actually use it to support our stock we're going to thread.